Home studios became like everybody's expertise in March.
And I have one of those computers, Ben, which I don't know why, but the camera is in the bottom left-hand corner.
That makes sense. That's everybody's best angle.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Hey, welcome into Carpooling with Ben. Summer 2020 rolls on, ladies and gentlemen. And something that typically might not be on the minds of too many people other than just going to the stores to do some back-to-school shopping and getting a new crapper keeper or whatever is back to school for a host of different reasons. One of the schools that's been near and dear to my heart, which is truly amazing, is Meeting Street. They're located in Providence, and they also have a satellite campus over in North Dartmouth. And they really are something special. If you've never heard about them, you're going to hear about them today. Joining me is the CEO, the headmaster. He cleans the bathrooms on occasion. Mr. John Kelly, sir, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Very good. Don't call me headmaster. I think the head of school will be upset with that title.
Oh, okay. Well, there's another. Okay. Well, listen, you have a huge staff over there because you folks serve just so many. Not just the students, it's the families. And that's one of the things that I think people are really getting a grasp of, especially as we've been through this whole social distancing and quarantine and just all this uneasiness. What is going on in the world of Meeting Street? What's been happening up into and what's going on now?
There's so many different things going on. I mean, we brought back our youngest kids. So our toddlers and preschoolers came back about 3 weeks ago. So we've got 3 classrooms operating over in Providence. About a week before that, we brought back our younger kids for outpatients. So kids are getting physical therapy, speech therapy, and outpatient therapy. We opened that back up in Dartmouth. And the main reason is a lot of our kids, they need the constant therapy or there would be regression. So we've been very anxious about that as you go through this. While our therapists have been working, from a telehealth perspective, it's a different thing than when you're in the same room with the child and able to really kind of push. What we've seen, Ben, is the burden on the parents has been incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to be the educator, they got to be the therapist, they got to be the social worker. I mean, parents have got to be flat out.
It's truly amazing. I witnessed it for many weeks. My own wife, who works in early intervention, trying to entertain. And I had heard the stories before, trying to get kids and, kind of entertain them while evaluating them, while helping. It's such a multi-tiered approach. And now to do it via telehealth and, okay, do you have Play-Doh? Do you have this?
Right.
And it's really a hats off to all the workers out there in all these different divisions. For those who aren't familiar, though, with Meeting Street, because you're not just a school.
Right.
You're not just a place where families get the incredible support. You're not just this really amazing building that people see off of 95 as they pass the big new bug right after you see this incredible location. What is Meeting Street?
Whoa. Okay. Well, Meeting Street, we work
in one sentence or less.
We work with kids, period. We don't work with adults. The only adults we work with are kids' parents or kids' guardians or relatives. And our focus is really in 2 areas. It's in early childhood development. So we start with pregnant moms and we go all the way up to pre-K in that group. And then we work with school-age kids and we go from kindergarten all the way up through 22. So in our school age, we have several schools we operate, both here in Rhode Island and in Massachusetts. And in our early childhood programs, as you mentioned, your wife's an EI professional. We have early intervention, which is a home visiting program for kids birth to 3. We have our early Head Start program, kids birth to 3. We have our Healthy Families America program, kids birth to 3. We have a WIC program, which is about getting nutrition for young families and young moms and pregnant moms to make sure, the baby is going to get as healthy start as you can. So we've got programs kind of all over the gamut. And the whole goal is, Ben, is we want to be that one stop for families because families' lives are hectic enough.
Sure.
They don't need to go here, here, and here to get everything their child needs. And we want to be that place that they know they can turn to us and we're going to work with them and meet them where they are and really help their child get what he or she needs.
You brought up an interesting point because you brought up how the therapy has continued. You're starting to reopen. The thing about kids and tiny humans that I've learned in my limited experience there, John, is just because the world technically stops,
oh yeah,
they don't.
No, they don't.
They do not. They
you should see
going.
some of the Zoom calls. You should see some of the Zoom calls they've done with the kids.
They just keep growing, and you can't let the time get past them because, okay, maybe 1 week of an influx, okay, but after you start going more than 1 week, multiple weeks, you lose traction. You could start regressing in some areas depending on the level of need. Yeah. And that to me has been the most eye-opening because you never thought of it before this whole COVID-19 thing.
Right. And one of the other big challenges, Ben, is because our head of school, I was talking to her this morning, and the kids in our school, some have special needs, some don't. We have all types of kids.
Right.
So some kids just come to us for the academic experience because the teachers they're really on top of it. But she said, one of the challenges as we're getting ready to reopen the end of August is with all the things you got to be putting, because you got to keep everybody safe.
Sure.
But how do you make sure you're not losing the joy? Because school is a joy for kids, and that's the way you want it to be.
Obviously Cardi's Furniture, huge supporters. Nick, Ron, and Pete, for many years. And Nick, unfortunately, who passed last year, he always had this phrase, if you're having a bad day, go take a tour of Meeting Street because your day is going to get a lot better real quick. Yeah. And it's not just the fact that you realize, okay, maybe your problems aren't as big. It's that joy that's really it spreads faster. It really does. It spreads faster than COVID-19, which is good. We need more of that. Yeah. And it just the hallways and just the buildings, the environments that you and your teams both in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, they just foster such an incredible atmosphere and energy. It's unique.
Yeah, our professionals are absolutely amazing. They really are. And they do create that special place and that special connection with kids. And it's how do we make sure we're going to be able to keep that special place while you're putting in the mask, while you're putting in the social distancing, while you're putting plexiglass up. I mean, and you've got to do all these things. You got to keep kids safe, but you also want it to still be, as you know, when you come in our doors, it's a place that celebrates kids.
Sure.
And I was talking to one of our early learning people the other day, and the youngest, they said, how are you going to tell kindergartners to keep a mask on? Right. She said, you get that point. How are you going to tell them not to glob together?
Sure.
That's what they do at that age. Right. No, you stay in your area. So it's going to be an amazing challenge for every school. It's incredible, this world we're living in now.
You folks do incredible work, and obviously you have a lot of support, but you also depend on the support of people in the community, whether they have kids or family members in the school or not. Yeah. The services that you provide and the enrichment that you bring to the community, not just the community where your physical buildings are, but the communities where your students are. You have some amazing programs that aren't really it's not that hard, and it's not that it doesn't hurt that much. You could be a gem. I remember that one.
Yeah, that's right. Giving every month. We love the gems. They give every month.
Sure. And folks, and those programs are still in operation.
Obviously. Absolutely. No, now more than ever. We need the community's help. We're incurring expenses that you never planned on. We just ordered. What did we just pick up the other day? 600 face shields. That we were ordering 500 more masks this morning because you just got, the hand sanitizer, and we're trying to figure out the best place to buy. This is just, but you got to do it.
Sure.
But it's not something you ever budget for. And so we're trying to figure out, how do we do this?
I want to take a step back to March of 2020 as everything was starting to, to spiral out of control and come into focus. Probably not the best term because everything was so unknown and out of focus. What was that situation like for you personally as you started to really just wrap your head around the severity, the magnitude of what was happening of this?
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. sorry.
Yeah.
The world changed, and I'm not sure it's changed for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, people are more isolating. I told you before we began the telecast or the recording, I'm tired of my own company, and people are more and more in their own homes, and you need the community to come together. And what we were seeing was the Meeting Street community dissipate.
Yeah.
And then the challenge was, how do you keep it going online?
Yeah.
How do you stay connected to those kids? How do you stay connected to those families when families have so many other things going on? And you're saying, okay, in addition to that, we want you to help us give your child therapy. We want you to help us teach your child math. And I mean, our professionals were absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I'm in awe of what they've done.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, because it just seeing it and from the people that I know from Meeting Street and other places, to see what they're doing and the amount of care and just what the unique thing is about students that you service and work with at Meeting Street is, you and I are talking on the Zoom call and online, and you can see the frame lines here and here, and I mean, you're tired of your own company. If I was as good looking as you, I wouldn't be tired with myself, but give it time. But some of the students that you work with may not express everything here.
Correct.
It might be in their hands. It might be in their excitement, their posturing. And you're right. You lose that with the video chat. You lose that with this social distancing. The feet that are the feet that their only purpose for this young child is to express joy. I mean, that's
absolutely.
It's like, hold on, it is really something amazing that it's forced us into this, and we start recognizing how complex these, not just these students, but every student, every
person, how we communicate. I mean, we don't just communicate verbally, and it's one of the things I'm always impressed with at Meeting Street with our professionals is, no matter what a child's dealing with, there is a child there. Yeah. And how do you help them communicate and express what they're trying to say? And you're absolutely right. Some kids, that maybe they're doing things with their feet, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. Yeah. Some kids, they communicate with head tilts. So you've got all this stuff going on that you're trying to make sure those kids still have their devices and they're not regressing at all on some of the skills we've been able to work with them for.
No, it's so true. And if there was ever a reason to support and really help, I mean, everybody's been doing so great with, supporting the local restaurants and the local shops. In the beginning, everybody was doing takeout when they could and doing all these things. Now that those places are established, if you haven't had a chance to explore it, and your social media on Meeting Street is incredible. You can literally see the excitement and the various things. If you don't know what to watch, just go back through the archives and rewatch one of the telethons past years.
And we're working on the 2021 now, because I mean, COVID's going to change that. So how are we going to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is incredible how everybody just the response, the reaction, because the kids, they don't stop. Growing doesn't stop. The learning doesn't stop. And kudos to everybody there. If it's not monetary, are there other ways that people can support Meeting Street with the various programs?
Well, anybody got any PPE equipment that's really good that's not used? I mean, that's one way. Well, we have volunteers who volunteer, but I mean, we're not going to be having volunteers come in the building for a long time.
Sure.
So that kind of shuts things down. But I'm sure, Ben, other than donations right now and donations, there's really, unfortunately, not a lot of volunteer opportunities.
Right.
Because as we reopen, we're not allowing anybody in the building. It's just, you got to keep everybody safe.
Well, more than anything, folks, if there's if you could share this episode, if you could go on, follow Meeting Street on the various social channels, share the stuff they're doing, because, John, I don't know if you've heard about this on social media, but sometimes there's negative stuff on there.
I've heard.
On Twitter, Facebook. Sometimes it doesn't happen often, maybe 2 million times per minute. But the content that your team puts out vicariously on the various channels and just highlighting the folks that you work with and that overall energy, that will change somebody's day. So I think that's a huge thing, is to go out there and share the message going forward, and to become a subscriber, become a gem, get out there, because it really is something incredible. So I'll ask you this, because we'll end on a light note.
Okay.
Of your Zoom shirts, how many Zoom shirts have been deemed Zoom worthy, and do you have certain ones that, okay, I'll go with a wider shot, or this one I can really just show from here up because something spilled on the collar?
Well, I have a few. I change my Zoom shirts at least once a week, so I'm trying to help the dry cleaner. I actually change it twice a week. And the big thing always is do I tuck it in? Because of course, you're not wearing dress pants.
Sure.
You got shorts on. You got workout shorts on. Who knows? And the buttons. You always got to make sure you got the button up. Because maybe you don't dress as formally when you're sitting in your house.
I'm curious how this is all going to affect when the world gets back to normal, whatever that may be. I'm curious how this is going to affect corporate dress code.
It's gonna.
I mean, let's face it. Regardless, there have been, the world has continued. A lot of businesses continued. There's been multi-million-dollar deals signed while people are on a Zoom call. It's like, totally. Okay, do you really need to show up in a nice high designer suit? Can you just show up with what you went to the gym in? A pair of Under Armour workout shorts and a T-shirt. I mean, it's all the same right now. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what's in here and how are you expressing it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that people have worked on. John, what's the best way people can learn more about you folks?
Go to meetingstreet.org. I mean, check us out. Check out our website. Check out our programs. One of the things, if you've got questions, you can ask it on there, and we'll email it to you. We'll get back in touch with you. If you're not sure and something's going on with your child, ask us. And if we can't help you, we'll make sure we direct you to someone who can. I mean, we are a resource for Rhode Island and Massachusetts families. That's our job.
You guys and girls, men, women, the families, the people there, young and old alike, are just incredible. Thank you so much for taking your time today to join me. And next, just make a note that you had the blue shirt on for this interview.
I know. Trust me, I know. This one hasn't been a Zoom shirt yet.
Oh, well. Making
I brought a new one for you, Ben.
Making its Zoom debut, ladies and gentlemen. John Kelly of Meeting Street, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.